Srimad Bhagavatam. This particular canto, this particular chapter is about the answers of Sukadeva Goswami to different questions. And first he is talking about the overall creation, Srishti. And then after that, there are different questions. He is asked about by Lord Brahma, and then after that it is slowly coming about the glories of the Lord, and then we in the 33 to 36 we saw the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, and then from then onwards this is about the there are further questions which is asked by Narada Muni to Lord Brahma. And this is what we are seeing now. Today, we will try to cover shloka number 43 to 46. So I am just sharing my screen. So once you are all able to see my screen, just please give me a confirmation.
Yes,
Is
Prabhu,
everyone?
we can see.
Okay, and one more piece of confirmation. Is my voice coming clearly? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, perfect it is.
Okay, so this is what we will try to see, and we will start with today's shloka, and we'll start with pranam mantra, Srimad Bhagavatam pranam mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiryayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So today's first shloka, shloka number 43, 2943. Tushtam Nishamya Pitaram. Tushtam Nishamya Pitaram. Lokanam Prapitamaham. Lokanam Prapitamaham. Devarshi Paripapracha. Devarshi Paripapracha. Bhavanyan Manu Prachati. Bhavanyan Manu Prachati. Tushtam Nishamya Pitaram. Lokanam Prapitamaham. Devarshi Paripapracha. Bhavanyan Manu Prachati. Hare Krishna. Can I request Sushil Prabhu to read the synonyms and translation? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Tushtam is satisfied. Nismaya after seeing. Pitaram the father. Loknam the whole universe. Prapitamaham the great grandfather. Devarishi the great says Narad. Pari Pache inquired. Bhavan yourself. Yat as it is. Ma from me. Anu Prachati inquiring. The great sage Narad also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied. The process of understanding spiritual or transcendental knowledge. Should I start reading, Prabhu?
Prabhu, maybe you can do the first two paragraphs. Hare Krishna.
The process of understanding spiritual or transcendental knowledge from the realized person is not exactly like asking an ordinary person from the schoolmaster. The schoolmasters in the modern days are paid agents for giving some information, but the spiritual master is not a paid agent, nor can he impart instruction without being authorized. In Bhagavad Gita 4.34, the process of understanding transcendental knowledge is directed as follows. Tat vidhi pranipaten prash, uh,
Pariprashnena
परिप्रश्न
sevaya.
सेवया उपदेश्यति ते ज्ञानम ज्ञान न तस्व दर्शिता. Arjun was advised to receive transcendental knowledge from the realized person by surrender, questions, and service. Receiving transcendental knowledge is not like exchanging dollars. Such knowledge has to be received by service to the spiritual master. As Brahmaji received the knowledge directly from the Lord by satisfying him fully, similarly, one has to receive the transcendental knowledge from the spiritual master by satisfying him. The spiritual master's satisfaction is the means of assimilating transcendental knowledge. One cannot understand transcendental knowledge simply by becoming a grammarian. The Vedas declare यस्य देवे परा भक्ति यर्था देवे तथा गुरु तस्य ते कथिता हर्था प्रकाशान्ते महात्मन.
Hare
Only
Krishna. Okay,
हाँ,
Prabhu.
okay.
So basically, this particular shloka, now in the 43rd, this shloka, Narada Muni is going to ask some more questions from his father, Brahmaji. And that is the meaning of the shloka. Anuprachati means inquiring. And paripapracha is referring to inquired. So, Srila Prabhupada starts the purport by explaining the importance of approaching a spiritual master. So, we all may think that I am educated, I have so and so degree, I can read the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam at my home. What is the need of having a spiritual master? What is the need of having the association of devotees? So that is the reason why Srila Prabhupada is very nicely explaining the purport, the importance of having a spiritual master. And he is very nicely giving an example that spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge, receiving transcendental knowledge is not like exchanging dollars. So when you go to material education, you pay a fees to the school or college or whatever it is, and you demand that education be given to them. And all of us know that we ask the students to challenge if they don't understand something. Whereas the way in which we receive a spiritual education is different. Spiritual education has to be received from a mode of submission. We need to first be convinced that our spiritual master will be able to take us back home, back to Godhead. We need to have full faith in the capability of the spiritual master. And our inquiries should be submissive. It cannot be challenging. And that is what is very nicely Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this purport. And this shloka in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, Tadviti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upatekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Jnaninas tattva darshinaha. So our spiritual masters, darshinaha, have seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So only those who have the experience of Lord Krishna can give the same experience to us. Those who have not experienced Lord Krishna themselves, they cannot give the experience of Lord Krishna to us. So that is something which all of us need to understand and then get convinced. And that is the main reason why accepting a spiritual master in the disciplic succession is very simple. And there's one more shloka from the Svetasvatara Upanishad, which is also quoted here. Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tata guru tasyaita katita hi artha prakashante mahatmanah. Only unto one who has unflinching devotion to the Lord and to the spiritual master does transcendental knowledge become automatically revealed. So this is told in the Svetasvatara Upanishad. So we should have a devotion to the Lord, and we should also be submissive to our spiritual master. And only when that happens, devotional service, the spiritual knowledge is revealed to us. So can I request Rao Prabhu to read the next two paragraphs? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Only unto one who has unflinching devotion to the Lord and so the spiritual master does transcendental knowledge become automatically revealed. Svetasvatara Upanishad 6.23. Such relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master is eternal. One who is now the disciple is the next spiritual master, and one cannot be a bona fide and authorized spiritual master unless one has been strictly obedient to his spiritual master. Brahmaji, as a disciple of the Supreme Lord, received the real knowledge and imparted to his dear disciple Narada. And similarly, Narada, as spiritual master, handed over this knowledge to Vyasa and so on. Therefore, so-called formal spiritual master and disciple are not facsimiles of Brahma and Narada or Narada and Vyasa. The relationship between Brahma and Narada is reality, while the so-called formality is the relation between the cheater and cheated. It is clearly mentioned herewith that Narada is not only well-behaved, meek, and obedient, but also self-controlled. One who is not self-controlled, specifically in sex life, can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. One must have disciplinary training in controlling speaking, anger, the tongue, the mind, the belly, and the genitals. One who has controlled the particular senses mentioned above is called Goswami. Without becoming a Goswami, one can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. The so-called spiritual master without sense control is certainly the cheater, and the disciple of such a so-called spiritual master is the cheated. One should not think of Brahmaji as a dead great grandfather, as we have experienced on his planet. He is the oldest great grandfather and is still living, and Narada is also living. The age of the inhabitants of the Brahmaloka planet is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. The inhabitants of the small planet Earth can hardly calculate even the duration of one day of Brahma. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, in this next two paragraphs, Srila Prabhupada is also explaining about the spiritual masters and the disciples who are coming in the disciplic succession, and the other spiritual masters and disciples which happen in this material planet. So Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains that there are so many so-called uh, people who call themselves as Babas, as demigods, and so and so. And there are so many disciples also of such people. And there is a lecture by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, and he says that current world, it's a supermarket of pseudo gurus. This is exactly the sentence which he uses. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this purport also, that we should be careful in selecting a spiritual master, and we should select a spiritual master who is coming in the disciplic succession. And once having done that, our inquiries, we should do service to him, and he should be pleased in our service. Only when the spiritual master is pleased in our service, the knowledge gets revealed. So it is not like we pay some money and then get some knowledge. So this is what is brought about, and the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple is also transcendental, and that is what is brought about. Not like the what happens between the bogus gurus and whoever believes in them. Srila Prabhupada uses the word the relationship between the cheater and the cheated. So yeah, so this is something which we all have to be mindful of, that we need to exercise a proper due diligence in choosing a spiritual master. We should choose the spiritual master from the disciplic succession. And once having done that, we should do proper service, and we should approach the spiritual master with submissiveness and humility. Let us go to the next shloka for today. Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 9th chapter, shloka number 44. Tasma idam Bhagavatam, Tasma idam Bhagavatam, Puranam dasa lakshanam, Puranam dasa lakshanam, Proktam Bhagavata Praha, Proktam Bhagavata Praha, Pritaputraya Bhutakrit, Pritaputraya Bhutakrit, Tasma idam Bhagavatam, Puranam dasa lakshanam, Proktam Bhagavata Praha, Pritaputraya Bhutakrit. Hare Krishna. Can I request RB to read the synonyms and translation?
Sorry, sir, I can't read. I'm outside.
Okay, Prabhu. Sumati Mataji, Hare Krishna, are in a position to read the
Hare
synonyms?
Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Synonyms by Sri Prabhupada, Jai Sri Prabhupada. Tasmai, thereupon, idam, this, Bhagavatam, the glories of the Lord or the signs of the Lord, Puranam, Vedic supplement, Dasha Lakshanam, 10 characteristics, Proktam, described, Bhagavata, by the personality of Godhead, Praha, said, Pritaha, in satisfaction, Putraya, unto the Son, Bhutakrit, the creator of the universe. Translation by Sri Prabhupada, Jai Sri Prabhupada. Thereupon, the supplementary Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the Father Brahma to his son Narada. Should I read the purport also a little?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Purport by Sri Prabhupada, Jai Sri Prabhupada. Although the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken in 4 verses, it had 10 characteristics which will be explained in the next chapter. In the 4 verses, it is first said that the Lord existed before the creation, and thus the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam includes the Vedant aphorism Janmadi Asya. Janmadi As is the beginning, yet the 4 verses in which it is said that the Lord is the root of everything that be, beginning from the creation up to the supreme abode of the Lord, naturally explain the 10 characteristics. One should not misunderstand by wrong interpretations that the Lord spoke only 4 verses and that therefore all the rest of the 17,994 verses are useless. The 10 characteristics, as will be explained in the next chapter, require so many verses just to explain them properly. Brahmaji had also advised Narada previously that he should expand the idea he had heard from Brahmaji. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed this to Sri Rupa Goswami in a nutshell, but the disciple Rupa Goswami expanded this very elaborately, and the same subject was further expanded by Jiva Goswami and even further by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. We are just trying to follow in the footsteps of all these authorities. So Srimad Bhagavatam is not like ordinary fiction or mundane literature. It is unlimited in strength, and however one may expand it according to one's own ability, Bhagavatam still cannot be finished by such expansion. Srimad Bhagavatam, being the sound representation of the Lord, is simultaneously explained in 4 verses and in 4 billion verses, all the same. In as much as the Lord is smaller than the atom and bigger than the unlimited sky, such is the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, in the last shloka, it is told that Narada Muni is going to ask some more queries to Lord Brahma. And then here, this is telling that once those questions were asked, Lord Brahma told about the Srimad Bhagavatam, and which contains 10 characteristics. Brahmaji told about the Srimad Bhagavatam to his son Narada Muni. So now, like Bhagavad Gita is talking about five main items. It talks about Prakriti, it talks about Kala, it talks about Karma, it talks about Jiva, and it talks about Ishvara. Prakriti, which is nature, Kala, which is time, Karma, all of us know about Karma, Jiva, the living entities, and then Ishvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about, it's talking about so many things, but primarily there are 10 things which Srimad Bhagavatam is explaining. What are those 10 things? We will be seeing that in the next chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't want to break the suspense now. So this particular shloka, the meaning is that once all those inquiries was done by Narada Muni to Lord Brahma, Brahmaji is talking about Srimad Bhagavatam to Narada Muni. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is telling, although the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken in 4 verses. So we all know that the Bhagavatam has 12 cantos and it has close to 18,000 shlokas. But what is referred to the 4 verses is basically the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, which we just saw in the same chapter in shloka verses numbers 33 till 36. There's also another 4 shlokas which is coming in the 6th canto, 11th chapter, 24 to 27, which is told by Vritasura. That is also sometimes considered as the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, but the core Chaturshloki Bhagavatam is what we just saw maybe a couple of weeks ago in 2.9, 33 to 36. And Srila Prabhupada is very nicely explaining that before the creation, which was done by Lord Brahmaji, Lord Krishna existed. And therefore, the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam includes that duration before even this world existed. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions about Janmadhyasya. This Janmadhyasya is coming in the 1st canto, 1st chapter, 1st shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is actually the 1st shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, which says, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yato Anvayaditaratascha Arteshu Abhignaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyati Yat Surayaha तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो अमृषा दाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. So this is the very first shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, which starts from Janmadhyasya. So in the Janmadhyasya, it is mentioned that Lord Krishna is the root of everything, beginning from creation up to the supreme abode. And then we should not think, just give me a minute, I'll just have water and come, just give me a minute. Hare Krishna, sorry. So, what Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain is that whether we see Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses or whether we see Srimad Bhagavatam in 18,000 verses, both are the same. And very nicely, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that Lord Krishna has the property of being smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. And similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam also has the same potency. So, whichever shloka which we read in Srimad Bhagavatam, for example, if someone is joining new today in the class, for them also they will find that whichever shloka they are joining, they will still be able to relate to Lord Krishna. They will still be able to relate to devotional service. Such is the potency of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That is what is being explained in this particular purport, that this Srimad Bhagavatam was narrated by Brahmaji to Narada Muni, and whichever verses we take, we will find the same potency. But at the same time, we should not think that because we can start anywhere, we can directly go to the ninth canto or 10th canto like that. No. All the acharyas and Srila Prabhupada have requested, have recommended, have prescribed that we start from the first canto and go upwards. And it is very clearly told, we will be seeing in the later cantos, and particularly when it comes to the 10th canto, it is very nicely told that the first and the second cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are like the Lord's lotus feet, and it gradually goes up, and then the 10th canto is basically the lotus face of Lord Krishna. So whenever we take darshan of the Lord, whichever temple we go, we should start our darshan from the lotus feet. That is what is the so that we take darshan of the lotus feet and then gradually move upwards. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam also, we start from the first and second canto and then go gradually. And the same way, now Brahmaji explained to Narada Muni, Srila Prabhupada very nicely tells in the purport The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also instructed Rupa Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis, in a small nutshell. And then once that, Rupa Goswami expanded this in a very nice way. And in further, it was talked by Jiva Goswami and other Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. Many of those the purports which we are seeing in the different shlokas of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, they are containing many commentaries of these acharyas, Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Prabhupada has taken a lot of information from the commentary of these senior acharyas and Shat Goswami. So, such is the potency of Bhagavatam, that whenever we join, irrespective of whenever we join, we always are able to connect to the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are able to connect to the message of Lord Krishna. That is the potency. So basically, in this particular shloka, led Srimad Bhagavatam to Narada Muni. Going to the next shloka for today, Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 9th chapter, shloka number 45. Narada Praha Munaye, Narada Praha Munaye, Saraswatyastate Nrupa, Saraswatyastate Nrupa, Dhyayate Brahma Paramam, Dhyayate Brahma Paramam, Vyasayamita Tejase, Vyasayamita Tejase, Narada Praha Munaye, Saraswatyastate Nrupa, Dhyayate Brahma Paramam, Vyasaya Mita Tejase. Hare Krishna. Can I request Smita Karnik, Smita Mataji, to read the synonyms, meanings, and translation?
Sorry, sir. I am on phone, so I cannot see.
No problem, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I read for her?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Naradaha, the great sage Narad, Praha, instruction, Munaye, unto the great sage, Saraswatyaha, of the river Saraswati, Tate, on the bank, Nrupa, O king, what is this word, Prabhu? Dhyayate, unto the meditative, Brahma,
Dhyayate.
Dhyayate, unto the meditative, Brahma, absolute truth, Paramaha, the supreme, Vyasaha, unto Srila Vyasadev, Amita, unlimited, Tejasa, unto the powerful. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. In succession, O king, the great sage Narada instructed Srimad Bhagavatam unto the unlimitedly powerful Vyasadev, who meditated in the devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, on the bank of river Saraswati. Prabhupada, purport also shall I read?
Yes, Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. In the 5th chapter of the 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada instructed the great sage Vyasadev as follows. Can you just read the shloka, Prabhu?
Ato Mahabhaga Bhavan Amogadrik, Suchishrava Satyarato Dhritavrtaha, Urukramasya Kila Bandha Muktaye, Samadhina Anusmara Tad Vicheshtitam. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. O greatly fortuned, pious philosopher, your name and fame are universal, and you are fixed in the absolute truth with a spotless character and infallible vision. I ask you to meditate upon the activities of personality of Godhead, whose activities are unparallelable. So,
Hare
in
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we saw that in the last shloka, Lord Brahma is narrating, instructing the Srimad Bhagavatam to Narada Muni. So once that is done, in this particular shloka, we are seeing that Narada Muni instructed the same Srimad Bhagavatam to his disciple, which is Vyasadeva. And once Narada Muni is instructing Srimad Bhagavatam to Vyasadeva, what is Vyasadeva doing? Vyasadeva is meditating on in devotional service upon the upon Lord Krishna on the bank of the river Saraswati. So for whoever has gone to this Chardham Yatra, we will see this Saraswati river very nicely. It is there. So we will see that Vyasadeva is meditating. The place where Vyasadeva meditated is also there. We can see it is engraved also that he has meditated there. But there are, since it is in the middle of this thing, it cannot be accessed at all times because many of the times the water flow is so heavy that we cannot approach. But otherwise, we can take a small raft kind of thing and then see the place, and it is kind of engraved that Vyasadeva meditated on this place. So, yeah. So, Narada Muni instructed Srimad Bhagavatam the same way how he received it from Brahmaji. He is narrating it. He narrates to Vyasa Dev. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is taking reference to the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's one full chapter. Basically, it is the fifth chapter, which talks about the instructions of Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. So what happens is that Vyasadeva, we all know that Vyasadeva compiled so many Puranas and so many Upanishads. He also compiled the Mahabharatam, and even after compiling all those things, he was still not satisfied. Sometimes we feel a kind of emptiness in our heart. The same kind of emptiness Vyasadeva was feeling even after he compiled all those Puranas, Upanishads, and even the Mahabharata. And he could not understand why after compiling so many literatures about the which is connected to devotional service, which is connected to bhakti, even then he is feeling this kind of emptiness within the heart. And when Vyasadeva is feeling this emptiness, Narada Muni appears in that particular place. So Narada Muni is also transcendental. So he knows the pulse of the devotees. So he appears there. And when he appears, without even Vyasadeva talking anything, from the face itself, Narada Muni understands that there is some kind of dissatisfaction which is in the mind and heart of Vyasadeva. So he is asking Vyasadeva as to you feel somehow dissatisfied or unsatisfied. What is the reason? So Vyasadeva knows that Narada Muni is transcendental, and because he has understood his mind and heart without even talking. And then Vyasadeva tells that even though I compiled all these literatures which are connected to devotional service, which are connected to Lord, still I am feeling a sense of dissatisfaction, this feels of emptiness. I am unable to understand why. Then Narada Muni explains to him that even though you have compiled so many literature, you have not directly glorified Lord Krishna. You have not directly explained the pastimes of Lord Krishna. You have done everything indirectly. And the people who read this, they may read this and understand and carry different interpretations. And that is the reason why you are not satisfied. You should now talk about Lord Krishna directly. You should talk about the pastimes of Lord Krishna directly. You should glorify Lord Krishna directly. And this is the instruction given by Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. And then after that, he starts narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this is talking about that particular chapter in the first canto, fifth chapter, which is talking about the instructions of Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. And Srila Prabhupada is referring one of such instructions. And in this instruction, it is telling, "Oh, great, fortunate, pious philosopher, your name and fame are universal, and you are fixed in the absolute truth with spotless character, infallible vision." So who is telling this to whom? Narada Muni is telling to Vyasadeva that you are all infallible, you are a good philosopher. I ask you to meditate upon the activities of the personality of Godhead whose activities are unparalleled. So basically, Narada Muni is telling Vyasadeva, please talk about Lord Krishna directly. Please talk about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Please glorify Lord Krishna directly instead of talking indirectly. This is the instruction given by Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. Can I request Sushil Prabhu to read the next
Yes,
two paragraphs? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
So, in the disciplic succession of the Brahma Sampradaya, the practice of yoga meditation is not neglected, but because the devotees are bhakti yogis, they do not undertake the trouble to meditate upon the impersonal Brahman, as indicated here. They meditate on Brahma
Brahma Paramam.
or the Supreme Brahman. Brahman realization begins from the impersonal effulgence, but by further progress of such meditation, manifestation of the Supreme Soul, Paramatma realization takes place, and progressing further, realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fixed. Narad Muni, as the spiritual master of Vyasadeva, knew very well the position of Vyasadeva, and thus he certified the qualities of Srila Vyasadeva as fixed in the absolute truth, with great woe, etc. Narad advised meditation upon the transcendental activities of the Lord. Impersonal Brahman has no activities, but the personality of the Godhead has many activities, and all such activities are transcendental, without any tinge of material quality. If the activities of the Supreme Brahman were material activities, then Narad would not have advised Vyasadeva to meditate upon them. And the Parabrahm is told Lord Shri Krishna as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjun realized the factual position of the Lord Krishna, he addressed Lord Krishna in the following words: Para Brahman, Param Dhamam, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Saraswatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum, Ahas Tvam रहस्य सवे देवश्री नारद तथा अस्तो देवलो व्यासा स्वयं केव Bravasi me. Arjun summarized the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita by his realization of Lord Krishna and thus said, My dear personality of the Godhead, you are the supreme absolute truth, the original person in the eternal form of bliss and knowledge, and this is confirmed by Narad, Asita, Devla, and Vyasdev. And above all, your personal self has also confirmed it. When Vyasadeva fixed his mind in meditation, he did it in Bhakti Yoga, trance, and actually saw the Supreme Person with Maya, the illusionary energy, in contraposition. As we have discussed before, the Lord's Maya or illusion is also a representation because Maya has no existence without the Lord. Darkness is not independent of light. Without light, no one can experience the contraposition of darkness. However, this Maya or illusion cannot overcome the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, but stands apart from Him, that is apashyatyam. Therefore, perfection of meditation is realization of the personality of the Godhead along with his transcendental activities. Meditation on the impersonal Brahman is a troublesome business for the meditator, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 12.5. Klesho,
क्लेशो तरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्त चेतसाम्.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, in the next few paragraphs, Lord Prabhupada is explaining that Krishna consciousness is not against meditation, but in this Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to follow the process of meditation. That is the reason why the process of chanting the holy name is prescribed for this Kali Yuga. When we go to the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very nicely told, Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu, Tretayam yajato makai, Dwapara paricharyayam, Kalautad hari kirtanat. Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu. Krite means Satya Yuga. Krite yet dhyayato Vishnu. Yet means that benefit which you got in Satya Yuga by what? Dhyayate. Dhyana means meditation. That benefit which you got in Satya Yuga by meditating on Lord Krishna. So in each and every yuga, there is a different method for attaining Lord Krishna. Satya Yuga, the method of attaining Lord Krishna was meditation. Next, Treta Yuga. Tretayam yajato makai. In Treta Yuga, what was the method of attaining Lord Krishna? Yajna. Tretayam yajato makai. Yajna. That benefit which you got in Treta Yuga by performing yajna. Then Dwapara Paricharyaya. In Dwapara Yuga, what is the mode? What is the method of attaining Lord Krishna? Paricharyaya, opulent temple worship. That is the method of attaining Lord Krishna in Dwapara Yuga. Kalau tad hari kirtanat. Kalau, Kali Yuga, tad, that. The same benefit you can get in Kali Yuga by Hari Kirtanat, chanting the holy names of the Lord. So this is very nicely told in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that the benefit which people got by meditating in Satya Yuga, by doing yajna in Treta Yuga, by doing opulent temple worship in Kali Yuga, in Dwapara Yuga, the same benefit we can get in Kali Yuga by chanting the holy names of the Lord. What is the name to be chanted? There are so many names, so many mantras to be chanted. What is the name to be chanted? That is also very clearly specified in Kali Santarana Upanishad. So Kali Santarana Upanishad says, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Iti Shodashaka Namnam, Kali Kalmasha Nasanam, Nataha Parataro Upayaha, Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So, Iti Shodashaka Namnam. Iti means this. Shoda means 10. Shaka means 6. This 16 syllable name, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you can see that it is having 16 syllables. Iti Shoda Shaka Namnam Kali Kalmasha Nasanam. Kali, Kali Yuga. Kalmash means sins. Nasanam means destroys. Kali Kalmasha Nasanam. This 16 syllable name destroys all the sins of Kali Yuga. Then in the third line, we still we still like to know about, like to have, all of us like to have a plan A, plan B, and all those things. So to kill all those doubt, in the third line it is said, Nataha parataro upayaha. Nataha means no. Parataro means other. Upayaha means alternative. It is said that there is no other alternative. Okay, when it is said, Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. Of Sarva means all, Vedeshu means scriptures, Drishyate. Drishti means seeing. In this particular shloka, Drishyate means seeing and understanding. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. After reading and understanding all the scriptures, it is concluded that the 16 syllable Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only option of removing all the sins in Kali Yuga. So, coming back to this, ISKCON is not against meditation, but in this Kali Yuga, meditating is not a practical way of realizing Lord Krishna, because we have so many disturbances. Our mind is not steady, Chanchalami, Mana Krishna, so all those things are there. That is the reason why in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is very nicely explaining that it is better to address, to meditate Lord Krishna on his personal form. He is referring to the shloka of this 10th canto in the 10th chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna is telling that Lord Krishna is being accepted by everyone. Parabrahma, Paramdama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Sasvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum, Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve, Devarishi Naradastata, Asita Devalo Vyasa, Swayam Chaiva Bravisime. Everyone in the disciplic succession has accepted you as a supreme personality of Godhead. So I am also accepting. So basically, in this particular shloka, it is talked about Narada Muni instructing Srimad Bhagavatam to Vyasadeva, and Srimad Bhagavatam is sitting in meditation upon the form of Lord Krishna. So whenever we want to meditate, it is better to meditate on the personal form. We can have this form of Lord Krishna, Tribhanga, 3 bends, and then meditate upon him. Let us go to the next shloka, the last shloka for today. Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 9th chapter, shloka number 46. Yad utaham tvaya prashto, yad utaham tvaya prashto, vairajat purushadidam, vairajat purushadidam, yatasit tad upakyaste. Sorry, yatasit tad upakyaste. Prashnam anyams cha kritsnashah. Prashnan anyams cha kritsnashah. Yad utaham tvaya prashto vairajat purushadidam yata setad upakyaste. Prashnan anyams cha kritsnashah. Hare Krishna. Can I request Rao Prabhu to read the synonyms and translation?
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Yet, what, uta, is, however, aham, I, tvaya, by you, prastha, I am asked, vairajat, from the universal form, purusat, from the personality of Godhead, idam, this world, yata, as it, asit, was, that, upakyaste, I shall explain. Prasnan, all the questions. Anyan, others. Cha, as well as. Kritasnasaha, in great detail. Translation. O King, your questions as to how the universe became manifested from the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, as well as other questions, I shall answer in detail by explanation of the 4 verses already mentioned. Shall I proceed, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Purport. As stated in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this great transcendental literature is the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge, and therefore all questions that can be humanly possible regarding the universal affairs, beginning from its creation, are all answered in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The answers depend only on the qualification of the person who explains them. The 10 divisions of Srimad Bhagavatam, as explained by the great speaker Srila Shukadeva Goswami, are the limitation of all questions, and intelligent persons will derive all intellectual benefits from them by proper utilization. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the second canto, 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Answers by citing the Lord's version. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this is also the last shloka of this particular chapter. So in the previous shloka, we saw that Narada Muni explained this Srimad Bhagavatam to Vyasadeva, and then Vyasadeva sat on the banks of the river Saraswati, and then he meditated on Lord Krishna. And after that, Vyasadeva explained the Srimad Bhagavatam to his son Sukadeva Goswami, and then Sukadeva Goswami is going to explain the same Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. So, O king, so that king is actually referring to Maharaj Parikshit. So, whatever Bhagavatam was ex Brahma, that's the first step. Then second step is Brahmaji to Narada Muni. Then the third step is Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. Then the fourth step is Vyasadeva to Sukadeva Goswami. And now, as the fifth step, in the disciplic succession. Vyasa Sukadeva explain it to Parikshit Maharaj. Give me 1 minute. Just give me a minute. Hare Krishna. Sorry about that. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is referred to as a ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. So, the tree of Vedic knowledge, there are around 18 Puranas. There are 18 Puranas. There are 108 Upanishads. All of us know that there are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and then Atharvana Veda. So there are 4 Vedas. So all these things are being considered as the tree of Vedic knowledge. But what is the purpose of a tree? For example, if you have a mango tree, the topmost product of the mango tree is the mango. Am I right? So if you are able to experience the mango, we are in fact experiencing the whole tree itself. As simple as that. Similarly, whatever is told in these in the different elements of the Vedic tree, we have the Upanishads, we have the Puranas, and all those things. The essence of everything is captured in Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is the reason why Srimad Bhagavatam is referred to as the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree. And because it is the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree, whatever we want to understand from any of these literatures can be easily understood from Srimad Bhagavatam. That is what Srila Prabhupada is specifying. All questions that can be humanly possible regarding the universal affairs, beginning from its creation, are all answered in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he also explains that the answers depend only on the qualification of the persons who explains them. We need to understand that the person who is explaining the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita normally considers the maturity of the audience when he explains. How does the maturity of the audience varies? How does the maturity of the audience dictate the structure of the message? Let us say that there is a 5-year-old child which comes to us and asks as to, if you don't breathe, what will happen? So let us say that it's a 10-year-old child. If the child comes and asks us, if you don't breathe, what will happen? We may give the answer that if you don't breathe, we will die. The same question, let us say that a 15-year-old comes and asks, So what we will say, we may say that if you don't breathe, we don't, our body does not get oxygen. And if the oxygen is not there, our cells die, and because of which we die. The same question, if a 20-year-old science student asks us, what we may say? We may say that there are arteries, there are veins. The oxygen goes into the arteries and it exchanges blood and all those things. So, which is correct and which is all of us know that are correct. The only thing is the first one was a little bit simple because it's a 10-year-old which is asking the question. Second is going into some more detail because it is asked by a 15-year-old. And the third is going into some higher level of detail because it is from a 20-year-old. So similarly, the answers also depend on the persons, and the person tells the answers depending on the maturity of the audience. So basically in these four shlokas which we saw today, we saw basically about the disciplic succession, about Narada Muni asking all these questions to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam to Narada Muni. Narada Muni then narrating it to Vyasadeva. Then Vyasadeva narrating it to Sukadeva Goswami. And then going forward, Sukadeva Goswami is going to narrate it to Maharaj Parikshit. So one of the main takeaways from these four shlokas which we saw today is the importance of accepting a spiritual master from the disciplic succession and serving him, serving the spiritual master, serving the devotees of Lord Krishna, approaching the spiritual master and approaching the devotees with humility and with faith that they are having all the knowledge and they are fully qualified. So that's one of the main difference between spiritual knowledge and material knowledge, where material knowledge sometimes people do challenge others, but spiritual knowledge we don't get by challenging whom we get the knowledge from. And when we do that, we can progress. And all the while, we also need to keep in mind that whatever we do in devotional service, we should try and do as much as possible in the association of devotees. The Panchanga, which is told by Narada Muni, chanting of the holy name of the Lord, being in the association of devotees, reading the scriptures, accepting Krishna Prasadam, and serving the Lord in his dham or in our altar at home. We should try to do as much as possible in the association of devotees. And this ISKCON, this Hare Krishna movement, is a practical institution where we can practice all these 5 angas on a daily basis. And when we do that, we can go back home, back to Godhead at the end of this very life itself. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Right.
So we have 10 more minutes. If anybody wants to add anything, please feel free to add. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. Let us try. We will try to understand by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our senior acharyas.
Wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
It connects very well with the next chapter as well now. So it opens up the door to the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much. Anybody, any question? Generally, we have more people, but it's unfortunate. Few of them had to leave in between.
No worries, Prabhu. No worries. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again, Prabhu, and thanks to all the devotees for joining and giving me an opportunity to talk about Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna, on this auspicious Dwadasi. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
all.
Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank you, Prabhu.